Burgess here with Music Marketing TV. You have heard in the intro what we will be making in this video. We're going to be focusing on making a music track with BA-1 by Baby Audio. It is one of their synthesizers. Well, I believe it's their only synthesizer actually. Let's dive right into it, shall we? So it's going to be mostly focused on just using it to make some cool music. So I'm going to start off by recording in a part. We're going to call this first part our lead. Or, you know what, let's call it the chords. It's going to be our chords. We're going to make some chords first. Chords, we'll give them a color of, I'm really not sure what I want to color the chords. Guess we'll make them a sort of a blue color. And you know what, we'll even match it here. And I will send this to a track so that it's all linked up nicely. Nice stuff. And then it'll loop. We're going to do that. So the sound I went with, I already had picked one out. It is the Jupiter Basic Brass Face. It's like the 3rd preset or something. It's not that far down. It's like the 8th preset or something. And so that's our starting sound here. We might go through and adjust some of these back. Let's do a quick listen through, make sure we're good. It's not bad that this is a little forward, but it's a little too forward for me. So we'll touch that one back. And I think we're good there. Okay, so next, oops, didn't want to get rid of that. We can get rid of this channel. FL forces you to have one until you have like an actual instrument or something going on. So we'll put down this. This will be called our chords. I also like to rename and color my patterns so that they match. So there we go. We got our chords. On our chords, it'd be cool if they started out with a little bit of a filter. So inside of here, we do have a filter. There's one right here. There's a cutoff. So let's go ahead and automate that. So I'm going to go to Browse Parameters. It is small for some reason, but it's there. And we'll move the cutoff. And we'll go ahead. We'll put this to the side, make this a bit bigger. You want to assign them so that things are like automatically labeled and grouped. It's awesome. I highly recommend it. Is it low pass, high pass? I can't remember. Well, let's just try up. Yeah, we want to go this way. Okay, so we'll have like some other parts come in here. This works pretty well. To make it a little bit more interesting, maybe we bring up the delay a touch. So there is a delay in here with an amount. And so let's go ahead and move that. All right, so let's just see with extra delay. That's pretty nice. Okay, so here I imagine there's like a bass, maybe a high-passed bass of some form hanging out here and outlining like what's going on underneath. And then it sort of gets fully revealed, or at least more revealed once we hit that spot. So let's add a bass, right? We got chords, let's get bass. So we'll grab the BA-1. Do I want to leave that open? I'll leave it open for now. We're going to end up going for it. It's a bass. I make my basses black, baby. Okay, let me find an interesting bass preset. There's a ton of great presets in here. Such a weird sound. I don't know. I mean, is there a way? What the heck is making that? It's got to be related to the LFO. It's targeting oscillator 1. I mean, if we take this down, right? Let's go with it, actually. You know, I think it's pretty okay. We'll give it a start time, a pretty strong quantization on the start time. Everything else, like the bends and stuff, I think we want to leave alone. Something like that might be a little bit better. Okay, now for the filter, we are going to want to do our own thing to this. Let me bring the mixer over here. So let's grab an EQ for a high pass. Okay, on this, let's also add a reverb. To do this, I'm going to use Deluxe Reverb. And this is a fine amount. We just want a lot. And we're going to automate its amount down so that when it comes in proper, it's in proper. I'm thinking about making this some sort of a pulsing thing, like... At this moment here, it makes sense to me that some sort of a main melody or a theme comes in. So let's go ahead and look for a main melody or, you know, a theme. And let's go ahead and look for a lead. We'll make the lead purple, pink. I thought this was pink. It's purple. Okay, so we got a melody. There's two parts to it, right? There's like this like longer part and this sort of shorter jumping around part. Let me go ahead and clean it up. Okay, we've got a bass, we've got chords, we've got a melody, but let's add a layer because by itself, this is what it sounds like. It could use a friend. So we're gonna clone this. We're gonna assign it to its own. That way it gets its own stuff. Let's find a layer. Really interesting names. So let's hear it. Maybe something like this, but with a bigger filter move. Let's go to the slot. We'll add a EQ to this sound. I'm also going to create, while I'm here, a lead bus. And we'll run them both through the same reverb. Let's go with this darker pink, I guess. Wow. We will grab a Lux Verb for this. And here, let's bring the lead, bring the filter, and this part will continue. But maybe on this one, maybe this is like lead 2. Maybe it goes down an octave on one of them to keep it interesting. I don't know. Let's get some drums rolling real quick. All right, so I've gone through, I've added in some hats and some drums here and tightened up the melody, just edited it down a little bit further. I want to add some pads to the intro for sure. This is what it sounds like with the drums. It's got some hats. It just repeats just 8 notes or 16 notes or whatever this is. Move over to the drums. So this part, I'm still thinking about what I want to do here. For the intro, I definitely want to have some pads to go with this. So I'm going to go over to my BA1 group and add another one. And this time we're going to look for pads. The pads we'll make blue. And we'll come in here. We'll look for, let's see here, leads, brass pads. I'm looking for something that can just sit in the background. Okay, and what we will do is we will reverb, delay the heck out of it, make it dark, not so bright. And we'll come over here, we will add, actually, you know what, we'll just take the chords, or in fact, we won't even take the chords. We're just gonna do something like this. Okay, so let's take this, send it to a track, color it, we'll make it a like nice blue shade. That's fine. And on here, we are gonna, again, we're gonna put more reverb on it. We are gonna bring it down in level so it's just in the background. Up an octave. Right here, I'm gonna add some sound effects. Let me find some sound effects for a rise and a hit right there. Okay, I'm gonna do a trick with Timeless 3 that I like to use from time to time. It is one I've shown in a video on Timeless 3. But basically, you randomize the taps and automate the feedback up. And it can create these super awesome swells that move. So like here, for example, you could have the feedback. And then you have to go through and, you know, really be careful about where you have it dialed up. And so, yeah, you can hear it coming up and down. Where you pause your playhead will set that value, so you also have to be careful while you're editing it to be at a spot that it'll play nice. You can hear it coming back. So anyways, I'm going to do this. I'm going to add, at this point, a second bass layer. So I'm going to clone this first one and assign it to its own track. I'm going to move it over to be next to it, though. And we're going to take this and just give it an interesting layer. We'll go, it doesn't even need to be bass, honestly. It just needs to be something that can develop the sound. That's pretty cool. Maybe we just run with that. All right, so I have done a bunch to the track, but as far as BA1 is concerned, I didn't really add anything. There is this lead I experimented with, but I decided I did not like what it was doing. And I decided also, song-wise, in order to reach a point that feels like, you know, we've resolved, instead of going for a big, like, bam kind of a moment, I decided to back off and go for more of a chill vibe. So to do that, I introduced a new line in the top chords, and I cloned the chords just so I had a little more control with adding another melody. So this is more about using the sounds and ideas you already have rather than just throwing a bunch of new stuff all the time. And this sometimes, I think in this case, it really worked out. So what I did was we have our chords here. And there's some pretty interesting stuff going on. A lead is now there. It's interesting. We want to change it up, but we don't want it to sound like unnatural by like adding in all these extra sounds and ideas. And so this is what this part sounds like, right? that sort of a thing. And there's also that feedback that I talked about earlier that's coming in and out. So this is providing almost a reverb kind of effect, but it's a delay. So I showed you that earlier. So in here, so this is going on these chords, I vary it up. So at first I change the chords inversions, and not all the chords, just some of them. So on the first one, this is how they all are, just kind of how I played them in. And then I redistribute the notes. So I change their voicing and in some cases their inversions. And that sounds like this. And then on this one, that's how this sounded like. If I really was getting into it, I'd go through and like maybe even voice them towards a certain direction, but I just wanted variation. So I just kind of changed the octaves up on the chords, and it can work out to make something interesting. I wasn't going to rely on this concept because it's kind of a background, kind of a concept. I don't really ever want it in the foreground. Instead, I want to guide the listener to a completely new line, and I decided to use a technique called pedal point. Pedal points where you just play the same stuff. Well, technically this isn't pedal point, or I'm not sure actually. You can tell me what you think it is, if it's pedal point or not. Basically, in pedal point, you're playing something down in the low end, and you change the chords above, and that changing of the chords above that low end that is staying the same creates something interesting. So here I've got this chord. It's C, E flat, A flat, G. So this is an A flat 7 chord or something like that, some A flat 7, and it's just playing over this thing, right? Because we're playing an A flat chord, a E flat chord, or an F chord, I don't recall, and then we go back and forth. So this is going to do this repeating figure, and instead of bringing it in with audio, I decided to do it with fade. So I recolored them, and to do that, you select them, you pick your color, and then you hit Alt-C, and you can recolor MIDI in the same pattern. So I recolored him. I actually bring in a fade via MIDI. This is somewhat strange for me to do, but it just seemed like the right move to do. So this comes in as this repeating figure that stays constant underneath all this changing stuff. That makes it interesting. This deliberately does not like follow what this is doing. And then we make it louder here. So we actually continue the crescendo. And this comes in, and there is a kick that slowly comes in off of a band. Originally, there was a snare too, but the snare, it didn't sound as good with the snare. So there's a kick that has this filter that's a very, very like subdued sort of underneath it kick. It's not a big like in your face kick. So this filter opens up here on the bus. So the kick's going through this bus, it opens up this. You know, and it just kind of arrives. I'm not totally set on, maybe I'll keep that as the moment. I might add a rise and a hit. In fact, we could steal this one from over here. This could be kind of a nice benefit. Something like that, right? I might make it a bit different, maybe a little bit more impactful. We could also add this impact and change these. I'd probably make these brighter. Kind of nice, right? By the way, I added this. It's not part of BA-1 or anything. It's not like focused on that. So I decided not to really focus on it, but they're just a reversal of like a riser that I cut off volume. Same thing with this, and it just EQ'd it to make it fit how I want. Sounds like that. So just like sound effect things. Anyways, yeah, so those are coming in, and we reach this arrival. The arrival of this kick coming in, though, brings with it side chaining. The kick is side chaining the harmonic stuff on these chords. So this chord layer I added, not this one. We'll get to that one. This layer is now playing all kinds of harmonies. Before, it was pretty light on it. Here, I throw it all on there, and I sidechain all this stuff to the kick. So now there's this pumping kind of effect, and with the pumping, that's going to greatly affect the bass lines. Both bass lines have this on it, They've got some side chaining going on, but it is being automated on and off. So you see the fruity limiter, that's what's doing the side chaining. So now we have this pumping. So the kick kind of acts, it just ducks it down. It's not like full side chaining, but I do dial it up. If we look here, it starts out, the side chain comes in, that's the mix level 5, and then it slowly rises until eventually it's just gonna be pumping. I don't know, I'd have to get to where I'm writing that part of the song, but that's sort of what's going on, and it creates this nice rhythm in the bass. So they're still pumping there, but it's like just a lot less. It's not so forward. I'm up in the air on how I want to, if I want to keep it that bright right there. I don't know. It's something I'm undecided on yet for that lower bass, the bass layer. But that's coming in. These are playing more harmonies, which makes this part, again, just a little more interesting. And then the pads, not the pads, the layer. The layer also gets a version of the melody. So we are trading off to a voice we are familiar with, but it kind of puts this melody in this more subdued position. So we repeat it, we just add on this little layer. Our ears are guided towards this fading in chord, this repeating figure. And you sort of arrive at this really nice place. Honestly, I think if I work out a really nice transition here with just some sound effects, it'd be pretty good, pretty much what I want. And then after that, it'd be like more mixing and sort of dialing things in little by little. All right, so this is our final product for this session. If you have any questions about anything you saw, feel free to drop a comment down below. What do you think of BA-1? Is it something you grab a lot? Do you grab it a little? What's your favorite thing to use it for? Style of music? Always interested to hear how other people are using their tools. Subscribe and hit that bell icon for future videos, and have a blessed day.